Hey YouTube, it's Fragments of Memory once again, and your friendly neighborhood armchair philosopher. Now, unfortunately, it does seem that black communities, with all the money that black people make at their jobs, we seem to spend it with members of communities that don't like us or that tend to not really care about our welfare. I.e., we spend it with the Arab, the Chinese, the Jews, the Koreans, the Vietnamese. And you were mentioning the hair and nail places where the black beauty care products will run up in the Chinese place and Chinese owned and operated hair care place and buy up all the merchandise. And they'll be putting their money aside and send their kids to school to become doctors, lawyers, and whatnot. And it seems that we don't invest in ourselves. We invest in other people to do their thing, but we don't invest in ourselves. And again, I'm going to go back to, but then we want that superhero. We want we want the Black Panther to jump off of his panther cycle and save the world, save the black nation. I do want to put forward that race is a social construct. Let's keep it real. There's only one race, that's the human race. And so I will at least point that out, that race is a social construct. But I agree, Oprah is not obliged to help every single black person. Now I'm gonna point this out that I myself support black owned businesses where I can. Like I buy books from black owned bookstores, and this isn't to toot my own horn. This is just to say, hey, look, I understand the importance of it. And if I could, I wish there were more black businesses, but unfortunately, many times black people see black businesses as dilapidated, unsanitary. Just even the employees of the black businesses seem to be real incompetent. And this isn't true, and I know it isn't, but unfortunately, it appears that way. Like, I was on Facebook, and a young lady that I'm friends with pointed out that she went to a business, and the business store hours were this time, but when she got there, no one was there. The doors were locked, lights were off. So she had to go all the way out to the white part of town, so to speak, and basically do business with them. And then she says, I hate to say it, but it seems with black owned businesses, we're very lax, very casual. So unfortunately, many blacks feel like, hey, I don't want to spend my money there because it seems like no one's together. Why would I give my money to someone who doesn't have anything? I've even thought about, for example, my mother loves to read, and I said, hey, there are really good black owned bookstores you can go to and get that book. And she goes, no, but the black owned businesses want to be charging you $40 for this one book. Or I can go to Barnes and Noble and get it for like 15. So, and I always try to explain to her, hey, they have to compete with this particular business and that business and so on and so forth. But she says, hey, look, I'm watching my pocketbook, and I have to respect that. Now, this SP Fuller, I really want to check this dude out. He sounds interesting. Um, is and I'll try to at least Google the dude because there have been many black leaders that have talked about doing for self, quote unquote. You can look at even far back as the teachings of Marcus Garvey with the Universal Negro Improvement Association. You can look at the Nation of Islam with Elijah Muhammad. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to his theology, but the idea of doing for self. There was a man by the name of Sheikh Ahmadine who was an Ahmadiyyan Muslim, and then he started an organization called Fahami, and he often preached about black self-reliance. And there are many out there preaching that message. So I think the message is getting out there, but many aren't trying to hear it. I think many are wounded and scarred and feel like, hey, I'm not worth anything. And anything black is equated with worthlessness and incompetence. And we always assume that if it's white or if it's foreign, it's okay. But if it's black, you better stay away from it because you're going to get lousy service and people with bad attitudes and et cetera, et cetera. So, and sometimes I'll admit I'm man enough, mature enough, adult enough to admit that, yes, I sometimes have that opinion. Even as someone who buys books from black owned businesses, even as someone who, hey, I'll get the shea butter soap and I'll get the black soap from black owned businesses. But like my mother, I'm looking at my pocketbook too. I'm looking at my pockets too. I'm not only looking at that, I'm looking at, when I walk in the black business, why does it seem like the black people getting a bad attitude? And it seems I get treated better at the white business. So sometimes I feel discouraged and want to shake my head because I'm not mad at the other people. They're doing what they got to do. And as a black person, I sometimes wrestle between black unity and the idea that people should be personally responsible for their own actions. And I always feel like I'm walking a tightrope because on one hand, yes, I think my black people are capable of wonderful things, but then I see what they do and I go, oh, what's going on here? And then it seems I'll agree that the culture we have is gone, and unfortunately, the vibe in our community seems to be the world owes me. So I understand that that you might get on the brothers and sisters a little bit, but I see the wisdom in what you're attempting to do, or at least the message you're trying to convey. Well, that is my 2 cents. Take care. Have a good one. Be easy like Sunday morning.